Welcome to reading.rs. We like reading interesting Reddit stories out loud for your entertainment. Please don't forget to hit like, comment, and subscribe.
Part 1. My husband is currently on a vacation with his mistress and I'm confronting them. Hello Reddit. Forgive me as I am new to the online community. Just wanted to tell my story and maybe get some input. I, 37 female, accidentally found out last month my husband, 38 male, was using work trips as an excuse to sleep with his also married coworker who lives across the country. When I say accidentally, he sent me a screenshot of Amazon purchases for our children, and included at the bottom of the photo was a delivery to this woman. So yes, the worried wife in me checked his search history and email. It was all right there. I learned his November trip was a romantic getaway, but this current one is luxurious. A spa resort complete with couples massages, couples cooking classes and monogrammed bathrobes for 𝗪𝗲𝗄. He mailed her a box of gifts a few days ago for Christmas. How sweet. He purchased sexy lingerie, sent her money on Venmo, and even started planning a January trip to Las Vegas. I was furious when I learned all this, but I kept my composure. My plan: he left this morning for his work trip, but before he left I gathered all evidence of his affair. I spent 4 weeks collecting emails, credit card statements, reservations, and confirmations. I wrote him a 10-page letter, put it in an envelope, and taped it inside the lining of his suitcase. I plan on sending a group text to him and his mistress right after check-in telling them to enjoy their trip. I will also inform them that a letter is in his suitcase and that I want a divorce. I wrote a special section just for her, and I want to make sure she sees it, so I will be emailing her the letter as well. He is currently in the air. My group text goes out this evening. Stay tuned. Update. His flight landed 1.5 hours ago. He told me he would text me when he landed and he has yet to do so. I have texted him twice, they were delivered but not read. I checked our phone records and he texted both me and her during his layover. His email shows no Uber receipt from his final destination airport to his hotel. She must have picked him up. Something I probably should have clarified in my op. She lives in the state he is visiting. So he flew alone. I will be sending a group text to both him and his mistress in 2 hours as that will be 4 p.m. their time and check-in. Update number 2. Sent pictures of our children and he did not respond. He is in the middle of the desert. My texts are going through green, which puts a monkey wrench in my plan for a group text to him and his mistress. Need suggestions? Should I call the hotel? Connect right to their room? I worked so hard for this, it has to be tonight. Help. Update number 3. Thank you to everyone standing by and waiting. My best friend has come to my house to help me through this. It seems my texts are going through green, undelivered, but when my friend tried it is blue and delivered. He has blocked me. I guess that helps his guilt. The plan now is to call the hotel. We'll wait a few minutes after check-in to make the call. Very soon. Please stand by. Update number 4. Like most of you predicted, he does not care. He had 0 answers for my questions. That was the most hurtful part. But guess what? I have all the emotional support and economic support, so I'm not mad. Every question I asked, he had no response, because his mistress was sitting there. I suspect when he is home alone with me, his answers will be different. I have made sure that he will not emotionally and financially fuck me, because I have secured support from family and friends. He can go fuck himself. Update number 5. Called his hotel room. Talked to his mistress and finally lost my shit. He ended up calling me a few minutes later and had 0 empathy. I'm shocked, but I'm not. He said a divorce was in order and fought me on nothing. I expected him to be sad, he was not, but that's okay. I started packing up his shit. I have some great friends who helped me put everything in the garage. Good riddance? I guess so. The morning after. I woke up this morning broken. My house is in shambles as I went on a rampage yesterday, ripping photos off the wall, throwing his stuff in piles on the floor, and breaking random objects in anger. Now that I've had a night's sleep, I feel that I am a bit clearer in my thinking as I analyze the conversation we had yesterday. He was different on the phone. That was not the man I know, but who was the man I've known? Because everything was a lie. The only thing he cared about on the phone was getting the kids. Which is perfectly okay, he should want to see his kids. But he refused to answer any question I had or admit to anything. I personally feel his lack of remorse was because he was sitting in front of his mistress. If I confronted him at home, this would not have been his reaction. When he comes home Monday night I expect to see a different man. Also, in my conversation with the mistress I learned she is recently separated. I called my mom. That was hard. While she and my dad have always been loving and supporting, it was hard to make that phone call. I felt like a failure. I know it wasn't my doing, but to admit that I made a poor choice in a spouse was difficult. Was this all because of a mistake I made 13 years ago? Honestly, it doesn't matter. I have 2 days to empty my house of his things. Who do I tell? Do I call his dad? Do I tell his mother? Best friend? Work buddies? I wish there was a manual on how to do this because I'm lost. Even with all my preparation I'm still humiliated. Luckily he did not take his house keys when he left. So no need to change the locks. I'll be removing his keys and sending him on his way. I don't plan on seeing him when he gets home Monday night. Doors are locked, everything you own is in the garage. Have your people talk to my people and I'll see you never. Preparing for the return. My friends and family have been wonderful. I am so fortunate to have such great people in my life. Yesterday, they came to help me move all of his clothing to the garage. His collectibles were all packed up and sitting here, waiting to be appraised. It took a very long time, and I was exhausted afterwards, but it was necessary. I honestly don't think he expects me to have gone to such great lengths to remove him from my life. Because I was so emotional, when I confronted him there is a chance that he thinks I will want to reconcile. Fat chance, buddy. His flight lands a little before 10 p.m. tonight. When he Ubers back home the doors will be locked. He told me on the phone he was just getting his car and leaving. I will be holding him to that. Something I should have mentioned earlier, the house is in my name only. He had no credit when we first started looking, so everything is in my maiden name and purchased by me. Health insurance, car insurance, cell phones, utilities are all in my name. The only thing his name is on is his car. I think he realizes now that could all come back to bite him. I don't want a messy divorce. I'm willing to listen to his demands and try and meet in the middle on as many things as possible. He obviously doesn't care anymore, so I'm going to do my best to not care and treat this like a business deal. The dust has settled. It's been a few days since his return. For a man who so diligently planned a secret retreat with his mistress, he took no time to plan for his return home. He has been living in the basement since Monday. I allowed him to watch the children open gifts on Christmas, but he has since returned to the basement. We have contacted 3 mediators and have appointments next week to start the mediation process. It's obviously over. We had a conversation argument upon his return, and he actually asked about reconciliation. I laughed. I laughed uncontrollably. Of course he pushed blame, stating that our marriage has been over for a long time. Well, that's news to me. His actions of an affair were selfish and avoidant. He didn't want to have that hard conversation with me about counseling or divorcing, and this route was easier and a lot more fun. Let's face it, he likes the attention of 2 women loving and pining over him. Well, I'm not longer playing that game. She wins, and oh what a prize he is. I have been amicable about talking about the terms of our separation. My biggest hang-up is her. He may continue seeing her, and I have questions about her character. What kind of woman mother cheats with a man she knows, is married and knows has children? When I confronted her on the phone last Saturday and asked her that question, she was silent. I asked if she was sorry and it was as if the line went dead. That kind of person I do not want around my children. People who show no remorse, especially when they are in the wrong, are not kind people. I have found solace in friends and family, and thank you to everyone's recommendation of 𝗪𝗵𝗲𝘁𝗍. I'm halfway through the book, read through the website and find it so helpful. Thank you again to everyone. I can't believe the outpouring of support. To the trolls, sorry you think I'm an unfit and inattentive wife, but cheaters cheat because they want to. Thank you again to all. Not sure if you want a mediation update or if my story is over. Either way, I'm happy to have met you all. Where is the fault? If you listen to the books and advice always given about cheaters, it all says the same thing. It's not you, they made a choice. My soon-to-be ex insists things were bad. While I don't think we were Pam and Jim or Lucy and Ricky, I think things were good. This process has made me review who I am, who I've been, and who I want to be. Could I have made changes? Yes. Was I perfect? Absolutely not. But my decisions and actions were never detrimental to our marriage. They were more like sacrifices. And now I'm having those sacrifices thrown at me, and I'm being called neglectful. Is all this about attention? A narcissistic need to be the apple of someone's eye? Him and the affair partner are now blissfully in the honeymoon stage. vacations, late-night phone calls like teenagers, present buying, etc. But what happens when the other shoe drops? What happens when she sees that he has very little patience with children? That he will walk past a sink full of dishes completely blind to them? When he doesn't pay the phone bill for 2 months because he is spending money on silly gadgets? What then? While it's not my problem, I'm sure his AP will take issue with these things. Perhaps then she will be put in the situation I've been in for a decade. Should she be the glue and hold it all together, or should she neglect responsibilities for his neediness? I've been told by him, someone who is having a relationship and spending large sums of money on someone else, that I'm at fault. Perhaps, but what about the decades of cleaning up your messes? Maybe if I would have had 2-hour conversations with him every night things would be different, but to be honest, I'm happy I'm here. Now reflecting back I see how underappreciated I was. How neglected I was. All these years I thought I was helping, but I was really being taken advantage of, and this affair is no different. Just a word of advice to all the mess cleaners, excuse makers, and spouse sheltering people reading this. Stop. Stop now. I've learned that all the helping is simply them learning how to manipulate you. Draw that line in the sand. Prepare for an uncomfortable situation when they start to stumble under the pressures of real life. But don't lose yourself. I lost myself years ago and it's not a place you want to be. Mediation and the move. We had our first mediation appointment via Zoom yesterday. It was very amicable, but only because I don't want to fight, and I just want this to be over. He apparently wants nothing. Not the house, not the furniture, not what he's entitled to of my pension. He just wants to be done as well. As I've been packing up things in the house to declutter, I've been offering him things, but he wants nothing. I suspect the moment our marriage is dissolved, he will be packing up his collectibles and clothing and driving across the country to live with her. I guess I should be okay with this as I don't want to be married to him anymore. It just kills me that he will be moving in with her and helping her raise her 2 children while mine are fatherless. It makes me so angry. Seething. The man who was abandoned by his father is now doing the same thing. Something he said would never ever happened because of the mental issues it has given him today. Well, it looks like that, as well as mostly everything else, was a lie. Again, I take solace in the fact that their honeymoon phase will be short-lived. Reality will smack them both in the face, and she will realize that he can be more hurt than help. While I wish him well and hope the best, our kids deserve more than a Christmas Easter 1 week in the summer father. No dad at basketball games, Cub Scouts, birthday parties and school plays. Meanwhile AP will have him and her children's biological father. I guess nothing in life is fair and my boys will have to learn that lesson early than I had hoped. He's gone. My soon-to-be ex left yesterday morning to visit her. I told him to go. I didn't want to spend night with him, and our COVID circle friends who we celebrate with have zero interest in seeing him either. He booked a flight 30 minutes after I told him to go. My only stipulation was that he is back for this weekend as it's my birthday and I really need a day to myself. I've watched the kids for 3 weekends now while he went to see his mistress. I thought I at least deserved my birthday to relax. He texted me while he was boarding that he won't be home for my birthday. Well then he claims when he booked this he booked a return for the evening of my birthday. When he tried to change it, he was put on standby. It would cost $1,000 to change, it was a red eye etc. The excuses kept coming. He apparently does not realize I have access to the internet as well, and flights are less than $300 with the airline he flew. I told him this, and he said those flights weren't there when he booked, lies, and he will take care of it. I just want him to be honest. If you don't want to be here for my birthday, just say it. If you don't want to spend the day with your children, just tell me. I can't force you to be a parent. I told him the flights were available and affordable. It's his choice to rebook. Ball is in your court. That's all I can do, right? Stay tuned for an update on his return this weekend. Nightmare. It was 12:40 a.m. on 9, and there was still no call from him. I was angry for no other reason than I explained to the kids that even though Daddy wasn't with us, he would call at midnight to talk to them and wish them a happy new year. I was made to be a liar. So, I text my STB ex and his excuse was, they are with their friends, I didn't want to bother them. Excuse me? Bother them? Do you mean you didn't want your kids to bother you is what you are really saying? If I was across the country on 9 without my kids I would have called and done the countdown with them via FaceTime. I think most parents would. But not him. He said, if you would have told me that you told the kids I'd call then I would have. He tried to spin this on me, that I created this mess. Why do I have to tell you that you need to call your children at midnight? This small act said a lot to me. Our children are not a priority. I guess he didn't want to ruin his perfect vacation at his new girlfriend's house with her children. He has a nice new family now. Today is my birthday, and he returns this evening. I told him in my night text that I will speak to him on the 12th, our next mediation meeting, because I'm done. I tried to be civil for the kids, but he's not putting forth the effort for them. Liar, liar, pants on fire. The past few days have been strange. We rarely talk, a decision on both our parts, and when we do it's about mediation, plans moving forward, or the kids. We have been civil and communicating well about those items. We are also friendly in front of the children as not to upset them. The situation is strange, because we are getting along, there is no arguing, it's a shared focus to just get through mediation and divorce. That's fine by me. Last night while I was cleaning the kitchen I heard him on the phone in the basement. I guess he didn't realize the door was left open by one of the children. Not wanting to be a part of the drama anymore. I went to close the door. At that point I heard him tell her how crazy I have been acting. Excuse me? We don't speak, and when we do it's very civil. How's that crazy? Well, he proceeded to tell her about a conversation we had, and he lied about everything. While the conversation part was true, he told her I exploded, I was in a rage, I was crying, etc. None of that was true. He explained how he laughed in my face at my rage, also not true, because there was no rage. I had told him a while back before the 𝗍𝗵𝗶𝗍𝗀 that I would start dating eventually, and he proceeded to tell her that I was bragging about guys I'm meeting. So far from the truth. I slammed the basement door. I'm sure he knows I heard. So I ask, why the need to lie and make me a villain? We aren't staying together, I have no reason to fight with you anymore, that's why we are paying a mediator. Why start lying to your new girlfriend that you love? How's that a good way to start a relationship? I don't know what is happening here, this is my concern. This woman and him are in love and want to start a life together. Okay, that's fine, God bless and congrats. But, this woman only knows me by the stories, which I'm assuming are all lies, he has told her about me. If he does move across the country to be with her, how can I trust a woman who hates me, because of misinformation, to treat my children properly? I don't care, if she hates me personally, I'll still sleep fine at night, but now I'm worried about sending my kids in the summer to stay with them. I want to confront him about this, but I know I can't. Maybe it's not that I can't, but I don't know how. Also, he has told no one we are separated, and definitely has not told people why. How come? You initiated this, you cheated, you are happy now, so why can't you tell people? He told his father that he was bringing the kids alone to visit him, because he and I weren't seeing eye to eye at the moment. What? I would assume he's afraid to face the music, or is just finding comfort in the little love bubble he has created. He chooses to not face reality. He has yet to look for an apartment for when the divorce is finalized, but has booked another flight out to see her for Valentine's Day. He is refusing to face reality, and it's so frustrating. Mediation and empty promises. Yesterday was our second mediation appointment. While it was amicable, there was some obvious tension. The tension was not on my end but more on his. Let me explain. During our first mediation we brought up the topic that he might move out of state. At yesterday's meeting I asked what we would do about custody if he moves to this particular state. When I mentioned the state by name, the mediator was confused. This prompted her to ask him why the state, that is so far away. His answer? Well, then silence. He couldn't put into words the fact that he was leaving to be with his girlfriend. I had to finally chime in, realizing we are paying by the hour, that he was moving to be with his girlfriend. I realized later that was the first time he had semi-confessed to having an affair and a girlfriend to anyone. If you love this person so much, why can't you just say it out loud? That whole situation confuses me. Anyway, when it comes to dollars and cents, I will be fine. He will also be fine. He will have enough to do what he needs, and so will I. We have agreed to a physical custody scenario that allows him weekend and dinner visits. Fine by me, I want my boys to have their father. But, the situation becomes a bit more difficult when he moves. While he said yesterday he plans to stay here at least a year, I doubt that will actually happen. When he does move across the country he wishes to return for one weekend of every month to see the boys. Again, I'm fine with this scenario, but where will he stay that weekend? He has no family. Will he just be taking the boys to a hotel? Again, I don't think he actually thought this through. This is a problem we will tackle when he does decide to move. Lastly, the mediator said it could take about 2 months to finalize everything. He and I spoke after the session to go over some facts and figures, and I brought up the tentative finalization date of our marriage. I told him how 2 months is a good amount of time to save some money and find an apartment, to which he agreed. I also reminded him about his promise to not return to visit her until our divorce is finalized or he has a place to live. He quickly became frustrated, telling me that he knew and tried to shut down the conversation. I told him I'm happy that we are on the same page, but I'm not budging. If you leave while you still live here, you cannot come back. That is something we both agreed to. Now the big question remains, who does he break a promise with? Obviously it's a win-win for me. Stay home and help me with the kids while you save $500 plus and move out quickly, or leave to visit her and I get you out of the house sooner. I'm happy with either decision. I just want to move on with my life and enjoy my moments with my children. What other Reddit stories would you like us to read? Comment your suggestions down below.
If you want to hear more Reddit stories, hit the subscribe button and turn on the bell to get notified whenever we upload new videos. Thank you for watching, and see you on the next video.